In the fall of 2015, I was hired by Susan Palchesco and Mike Love to be the library media specialist at Kimpton Middle School in Stowe, Ohio. One of the first things that they gave me was a green screen, mobile green screen, and an iPad. And they said, have fun. And that grew into 7 iPads and a painted green screen wall. Eventually, the vision became so great that the district decided to invest in creating the middle school media production lab. It wasn't always easy. Deciding what we wanted in the media center was probably one of the most challenging things about creating the entire lab. Once the equipment started arriving, there were numerous problems. At the same time, I was starting a brand new project called the STEAM Cadre, and I was working with a group of teachers that were phenomenal. We were doing professional development on all different kinds of technology. I visited Columbus. I was fortunate enough to spend several days with some of the most interesting and innovative teachers I had ever met. It was at the Akron Global Polymer Academy that I had an absolute epiphany. Why wasn't I collaborating with a university? I made contact with Kent State University, and Mark Warzinski picked it up. He decided that he would be our contact at Kent. And he came out to Kimpton Middle School and helped me set up the entire lab so that it would function like a true media production lab. He helped me understand software and equipment. He brought an engineer to help me with cable management and things like which audio sources I actually wanted to use. He also helped us determine what would be the best way to store our footage and then distribute it, both within our school and maybe using YouTube. The lab began to be used a lot more often. We had large groups of students doing all different kinds of projects, social studies, language arts. This is a clip of a student who's typically not a leader actually producing a video in our new lab.
2, 1.
My sisters, please pray with me. What shall we pray to? The King and Queen, of course.
Shh. We have to go.
On Wednesday, April 3rd, 3 months of planning and collaboration with Mark Warzinski, Tammy Bongiorni, and Erin Keller finally came to fruition. We took 30 Kimpton students to Kent State University to spend the day exploring the campus and learning as much as they could about Kent State University's School of Journalism and Mass Communication. The tour was especially exciting for several students because it included all kinds of student media, including radio, magazine, journal, newspaper. They got to see all of the possibilities. And one of the very cool things about Kent State University is that you don't have to be a journalism and mass communications major to be involved in student media. We were able to go see them preparing for their morning newscast. This is the same group of people that 20 minutes later, after these pictures, they're going to be actually on air live at Kent State University sharing the morning news. We were able to go down into the broadcast studio where we saw both the talent, as they call it, on-screen talent, and we saw all of the backstage production. And so kids got to actually choose which side of the wall they wanted to be on for the next 25 minutes while they did the morning announcements, the newscast, flashcast.
Yesterday for Kent State. I'll have that and more in my sports report.
Watching them watch the video production go on was one of the most interesting parts of the day. I think that they saw that what we're doing at Stowe, at Kimpton, is really small scale, but still very professional. We're running something similar on a much smaller scale to what's happening there. It was cool for them to see the studio, they were absolutely entranced by the green screen and how large it was and how professional it looked. And they got to see themselves with the background on a monitor, so they knew where they were positioned. They had a lot of fun just kind of playing with the stuff that was in the studio. It was neat to see them looking so professional. I mean, these people who were doing this flashcast are really only 6, 7, 8 years older than them.
When you were using Uber.
I never realized how fast the teleprompter.
Uber is fast. Uber's fast. Don't talk to strangers, kids.
Quicker than you were using Uber.
Wait, we're not there yet.
Get in the back seat of the car and make sure to share the details of your drive.
We were fortunate to meet up with Erin Keller, who is not only a Kent State student, but also works for Stowe in our social media department. After we left the School of Journalism and Mass Communication and student media behind, we were lucky enough to get a tour of some of Kent State University's professional media production. Of course, Mark Warzinski, our tour guide and liaison for the day, is in charge of that department, and he had scheduled a really cool tour of the MAC facility for us. When we walked in, the MAC Center was all set up with Kimpton Stowe Bulldogs greeting on the big screen, and Mark explained kind of what his team does as far as running media productions for professional sporting events that are then published or broadcast on ESPN. Our students were fortunate enough to be able to see how they might be treated if they went to a Kent State University game, some of the fun stuff that happens from the control room in the back. They were able to take a tour of where all the cameras would be, where the cameramen would be, how you would be running the graphics. There was a lot of really great conversation at this point about what kind of major you might be or what you might be studying if you wanted to get a job in professional media production. The young lady who gave us this part of the tour talked about some of the software that she uses, and she talked about the fact that she's not only working for Kent State University, but she's also working for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and so she's doing some of the special effects, video, hype type of stuff that happens for professional sporting events, which is very, very cool and speaks volumes to kids who are interested in media but aren't exactly sure what they would do with it or how it would fit into their lives. By this point in the day, our students had a million ideas running through their minds. They were already talking about things that they could do. Who could we implement a hype video for? What would it look like if we went out on location with cameras or to games? What kind of graphics could we use? And they were just having a lot of fun. We did get lunch in the student center, which was awesome. And then we met in a room upstairs where we got to kind of brainstorm. What are we planning to do for next year? We had given them cameras and video recorders for the day. And we said to them, okay, your job is to create something based upon your experience today. So we have a deadline set for that. It is close to the middle of May, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with. They came home back to the school. We had like 40 minutes left, and they were already jumping into software. They were, hey, what can I do? Can I get on a computer with this? I want to upload this video. And it was very, very encouraging. I am so excited to see what the future holds for Kimpton Middle School and media production. And a huge part of it was my experience with the STEAM cadre. I cannot say enough about the true value of collaboration. It has made a huge difference in the lives of our students.